Good evening, dear friends. I'm happy to see you again. And if you're turning on for the first time, I'm glad to welcome you, and I hope you will turn us on again in the following weeks. Today I will continue with the story after we have built a bunker in the ghetto. On the 6th of August, 1942, the entire ghetto was surrounded, and the people were again forced to get out into the marketplace. But this time the Germans came to take us out from the houses and lead them to the place of meeting. At this time, the Jewish people were being killed on the new cemetery of the Jewish community. When we heard about this in the morning, everybody immediately went into the bunker. Fortunately, it was just finished a day or two before. It was not really finished because we had no breathing instrument developed there. So when we got into the bunker and closed it from within, we shut off all air, and we had to survive just on the air that was left for the time being in the bunker itself. So everybody ran into the bunker, except I was asleep, and I was not aware of what was going on until I woke up in the bunker. My uncle, when they realized where I wasn't there, came out and took me in his arms and carried me down into the bunker. And so I woke up in the bunker, and they closed the door. And we were listening what was going on. And as long as it was quiet, we had among us a baby. My aunt's sister, Liebe, had a baby of about 6-7 months old, roughly the same age as my little brother who was killed a half a year before. And she had to change the baby and had to nurse the baby, a baby girl. So the people listened around. They opened so to speak, the door into the bunker, and they heard that everything is quiet. So she went out to take care of the baby and change her, nurse her, and so forth. As she was doing this, she suddenly heard the Germans were coming to the house. So in panic, she left the baby on the bed and ran straight into the bunker, and we closed the door and were petrified. Everybody was trying to be quiet and do nothing because any sound may have been heard, might have been heard. And some people cough, and some people have to sneeze, whatever it is. I remember myself, I developed a cough, and I knew I cannot cough, because if I cough, I'll endanger the life of everybody else, including myself. So the little boy, I don't know why, but somehow I reacted spontaneously to stop my cough. I realized that when I put my fist in my mouth, I stopped coughing, and instead of coughing, I developed a reaction of trying to throw up. By throwing up, the cough went away. So at every moment I was about to cough, I would put my fist in my mouth and keep quiet. When Liebe came back into the bunker and the child was left behind, the Germans came in, we heard them come in, and they looked and walked around the house, and then one of them opened the little door to the second cellar next to us, next to the entrance into the bunker, and we heard a man jumping in, and then the man said to the German in German. I remember because the people repeated what he said. He said, "Geben Sie mich ein Streichholz." Give me a match. And they gave a match and says, "Now I'll show you how to look." And they found all the fur, all the valuable things which were lying in the bunker, in the cellar, in the cellar leading into the bunker, and he took it out and lifted it up, and they took it out and gave it to the people on top. And when this was done, he took it around and he walked out, and they went away. Thank God we had all these things in the basement, because it blinded their eyes from looking further. They were so engrossed and excited about what they found that they forgot to look around the walls. Had they looked, they might have noticed that the wall where we had the door with the shelves was still a little damp from the new cement that was put up there. And so we were saved, and they went. When everything quieted down, Liebe went out to look for the baby. The baby was gone. She came back without the baby. The question to my mind, everybody else maybe thinks the same. What happened to the baby? All kinds of possibilities arise. Of course, the assumption is they killed her. But maybe not. Maybe somebody took the baby for adoption, or gave it to somebody else for adoption. You can never tell what goes through the minds of a human being at any given time. So, who knows? Maybe the baby survived, maybe she grew up, maybe she married, maybe she has children, maybe she has now descendants, or maybe she ended up with everybody else dead. And when you think of babies, how they were killed, it's so gruesome we can't understand, because there were stories that they would take the babies by the legs and tear them into halves and throw them into the grave. Who can fathom what might have happened? The positive thing is that maybe she's alive. That enables us to forget all the other evil things. We remained in the bunker, and every hour or so we would open the door in order to get some breathing, possibilities, air in for breathing. And that continued for one night, the second day, and the second night. And then when everything was quiet, we could see, we could hear. The first day there was a lot of commotion about the moving around and running around, the vibration of the ground. And the second day it quieted down. And the second night, my uncle and my uncle's brother-in-law went out and scouted around the area, and they saw that everything is quiet and there's no guard around. So on the second night, we left the bunker. How we survived these the day and a half with a night, actually 2 days, 2 full days, is beyond our imagination. There are stories afterwards when we met up in the forest with other people of a man choking another old man because he was coughing, and tried to hold his mouth down from coughing, and in the process the other man suffocated. And I was always thinking of myself, how I myself almost suffocated myself by putting my fist in my mouth to prevent myself from coughing. Or, God forbid, if somebody else would have held my mouth, what would have happened to me? In any case, the second night, we went out of the bunker. It was late. And we walked downhill a little bit, through the walls, into the open streets. We crossed one street and another street and walked into the outskirts of the town. And we walked along a certain river. There was a little river, a brook running along. And as we walked along, something happened which was really hard to explain, but very understandable. The owner of the house said to my uncle, he says, I know a farmer in this and this town, and when I come to him, he will help me. He will take us in and hide us. We are 4 people, and that's a big group already. So I cannot go with you. We have to separate. So he separated from us, and he went his way, and we kept going our way. As we were going our way, who were we? We were my uncle, my aunt, and the 4 children, my aunt's sister and her brother. So we were 4 adults and 4 children. And we walked along the brook. But then the brook began to get swampy. And in order to avoid getting into the swamps, we turned a little bit to the left. And before we knew it, we lost track of where the brook was. The brook turned around, took a bend to the right, and we were going. So we had to backtrack. We found the brook and continue walking. We walked and walked until we came to a small little forest. And in this little forest, we walked in, found some kind of a clearing, and sat down and remained till through the night. In the daytime, it was drizzling, and it began to rain a little, and we could hear shooting and firing of weapons all day long, because not far from us, as it happens, if I'm looking toward you, it was on my right, where the new Jewish cemetery was, and that's where the older Jewish people were led to and shot to death. We remained there, petrified, in rain, cold, and hungry, and waiting for the day to pass. I wish you a good day, and I hope to see you next week again, and we'll continue the story as it evolves in the years to come. God bless you.